All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Chesterfield. As you can see, Cherry is getting ready for us. Oh, and we're starting. Here we go.
My name is Cherry. I am the creator slash host of the Negro Justice League. The Negro Justice League is, we call it a Black Nerd podcast. Our primary activity is podcasting, but we're active on most social media sites, and we do some video game streaming,
Hey, med school.
online streaming. The purpose of the podcast would be, we do a lot of critical analysis of film, TV, games, any type of entertainment. We do have a Black Panther episode, 2 Black Panther episodes, where we spoke to a member of the cast, and one that was in the movie. He was an extra. And we also, in the second one, did a critical analysis of the film as far as themes, like we spoke about W.E.B. Du Bois and like a dual identity of being Black and also being African at the same time. It's cool, check it out. So today, we are here to present a STEM panel. STEM standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So we have a panel of people who work in STEM fields, different STEM fields, and we will speak to you about what it is to work in STEM and answer any questions you have. So we will speak for about 30 minutes, and after that I will give you 15 minutes to ask any questions you have, and afterwards we will be seated outside if you have any further questions. And we do have information, flyers with information for the podcast if you guys want to check that out. Alright, so we're going to start with introductions. My name is Dina Cherry Brown. On the podcast I go by Cherry. Most people call me Cherry, but it is my last name. I am currently an epidemiologist employed by the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia when I'm not podcasting. I am a student working on a doctorate in public health in epidemiology and infectious diseases at Georgia State University. I am an adjunct professor at Virginia Commonwealth University, where I teach intro to epidemiology and disease trends, prevention, and control. And missing something else I do. But I think y'all got enough of that. I attended Florida A&M University, where I got a bachelor's of science in healthcare management and a master's of public health in epidemiology and biostatistics before everything I just said. Dr. Jaslyn Adams, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Dr. Jaslyn Adams, also a FAMU graduate. I got my doctorate of pharmacy at the highest of 7 hills at Florida A&M University. I currently work as a full-time retail pharmacist with CVS down in Jacksonville, Florida. We do a lot of counseling.
Maybe.
Any questions that you may have.
Maybe.
Without going to
We will
Dr.
see if we have enough
Gilbert,
time.
They basically come to my store. Any questions over the counter and inside the counter, we take care of that, and we make sure that all interactions are taken care of.
All right. Next slide. We'll go to Terrence first since we move down the line.
I'm Terrence McClendon. I work at Rockwell Automation in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm originally from Chicago, actually. I live in Milwaukee now. I went to Milwaukee School of Engineering, where I got my Bachelor's of Science, and then I got my MBA from Cardinal Stritch University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, looking forward to speaking with you guys. I work in sourcing right now, so I source circuit protection for the products that we make at Rockwell.
And I'm James Stanislaus Caldwell, and most people just call me Sloss. And what I do is I'm actually a digital marketing professional for a healthcare company that's national. And generally my job is I'm usually the bad guy from what most people say. I'm the person who uses behavioral statistics to figure out how to get you to buy more, how to follow you around, or how to track you to get you to keep purchasing and keep purchasing. So that's what I do. I'm the bad one, but it's a lot of fun.
All right. I know all y'all explained what y'all do. I didn't. I said I'm an epidemiologist. That means I study diseases. The epidemiology, the word coming from epidemic, the people that study epidemics. Most famously, during Ebola, there were the white suits. Everybody had the hazmat suits. That was CDC. Those are epidemiologists that come in and try to control outbreaks, diseases. I don't generally deal with outbreak. Well, I used to don't deal with outbreaks anymore. It's mostly surveillance. When you get sick, the government knows, and we keep track of how many people are sick, and that's what I do. But our next question actually touches on that, and this is a question that I really like. I've been told by some of my best professors that if you can't explain a concept to a small child, then you don't understand it yourself. So our question, and I'll answer it first, and I'd like each of you to answer this one. How do you explain what you do to a kindergartner? And I'll start. Being an epidemiologist, what is after kindergarten? It basically means I find out what is making people sick. I then count how many people are sick, and I tell people how not to get sick. Jasmine, what do you do?
All right, because we actually get this question on the Hill a lot. So I'm the one that helps keep mommy and daddy well, pretty much. So when we have to explain to kids, we tell them, you know, when mommy and daddy get sick, you go to the hospital, you see the doctor, then they come see me. I explain what they're given, and then everybody gets better. And then usually do a little fist bump, call it a day.
So I actually just did this not too long, well, during the school year. I went to a school and had to explain this, but I buy things. And instead of buying it for $5, I negotiate to buy it for $3 in the simplest form.
And I guess my job is to understand why you buy things and make you buy more things.
So these two are a very bad combination.
Yes.
I'd say we're a good combination, you and I.
Wonder Twin Powers after.
There we go.
All right. So I said, you want to bring your microphone over just a little bit more?
Yeah.
Go back to this one, play on this one.
No,
Yeah,
push
your,
it close.
your words, pull it towards you a little more, or angle it towards your mouth. All right, sorry about that, guys. Can y'all hear him?
Yes.
Okay, I know you can hear me because I can hear me. All right, this is an important question I'm about to ask next. I told you I do teach epidemiology, and almost all of the students that come in my class have no idea what it is. And when they leave my class, there are a few that want to be epidemiologists. And this shows me that, and this is, honestly, this gets to the heart of why I chose to do this panel. There are children who are interested in science, interested in math, engineering, technology, and don't know what they can do. They say, you know what, I like health, but I don't want to be a doctor. I don't think I can cut people open. I don't think I want to see patients. And then they think, okay, I can't do science anymore. Or I want to be an engineer, but you know, I'm not too good at math, or I don't like computers, or you know, they don't know the options. And you learn the options, I did, by messing up. By trying one thing, not liking it, trying something else, not liking it, trying something else, and then you end up in your passion. So the question I want to ask is, well, it's the statement. Explain to me your career path. How do you get from a student with an interest to a professional with a career? And y'all can go whenever order y'all want to, or if you don't, whoever wants to answer that.
I'll go first. The career path for me was, it felt simplistic because my dad's a science teacher. So I grew up on Bill Nye the Science Guy. I promise you there is the collection of cassette tapes, like the videotapes, somewhere in the house, in a box. They're probably still there. And so I've always been interested in like chemistry, putting things together, taking them apart, chain reactions, chemical reactions, things of the sort. And so, you know, back, they used to make you take these tests, like aptitude tests. What are you good at? You know, what would be a good job for you? And when I took it in high school, I didn't like any of my choices. They're like, policewoman, janitor, teacher. I'm like, I don't want to do any of this. It doesn't really suit me. So I kept looking, and then they had like an apprenticeship program. So I got into the program. They let you follow around like physical therapists, nurses, pharmacists, all sorts of different type of workers. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can do science kind of without having to do like medical doctor, because I like blood, but I don't like broken bones. And so I ended up doing an apprenticeship, fell in love with it. I'm like, oh my God, I want to be a pharmacist. I get to talk to people, I get to help them, and then explain to them what's going on, because I love talking to people. Retail is a difficult environment, especially nowadays with all the restraints that they have on us, but I still enjoy the one-on-one with my patients, which is why I don't really lean toward hospital particularly, because there are numbers of ways you can go with pharmacy, not just what you see at Walgreens, at CVS, at Walmart. There's many avenues you can go, but I do like that one-on-one when your grandma is on medication and nobody can explain to her what she needs to do. Can I take this with milk? Can I do, can I take this with food? I'm the one who's there to be like, hey, this is what you do, this is what this means, and any questions, you give me a call. So taking into consideration that I like to talk to people and then I like science, pharmacy just ended up working for me. And then they had a career fair, so family showed out. I'm like, gotta go, Tallahassee. and then it just went from there. They had a pre-pharmacy program that 2 years undergrad, apply, if you get in, you go straight in. And I did, and I just never looked back.
Yeah, I've always kind of, so I started out as an electrical engineer at Milwaukee School of Engineering, and changed pretty quick to industrial and business. And I was just always interested in like this water bottle, like how does it go from a bottle onto the shelf so you can go buy it? And that's supply chain. And you know, I got into it right out of college. I worked in distribution for Frito-Lay. And I also like talking to people. So I went from distribution into sourcing. And there are a couple of lawyers in my family. I didn't go to law school, but I get to negotiate contracts every day. So I kind of get to be a lawyer without going to school for 4 years. So that's kind of fun to me. You know, but I don't get paid like one, but that's okay. You know, just understanding how things get from point A to point Z is really what led me into kind of where I'm going. So supply chain, if you don't know, is, you know, raw materials, sourcing, logistics, warehousing, manufacturing, distribution. I'm interested in all those things, and understanding how what I do in sourcing affects the next function within the supply chain, and how what the first function of the supply chain does that affects me, and having to work with different people in different groups is really cool. It was cool when I was in college, and you know, I wanted to be a part of it, and that's kind of what I've done in my career.
I kind of wandered in, I think, into STEM and technology. So I can remember back, I'm the age myself, it was 1994. I was in the undergrad class, undergrad 1994, right? And I can remember having to take a computer science class I did not want to take. And the professor's like, yeah, there's this new thing that we call the internet. That's what they called it back then, this new thing called the internet. And I'm like, whoa, you can look up anything in the world, all the information in the world, and the first thing I wanted to go do is look up Bone Thugs and Harmony Rap. That's literally the first thing I thought to do, but I was utterly amazed by all this information and just the creation of websites. So literally I went to go check out a book from the library in the dorm, and I was in my dorm room learning what's this HTML stuff. Okay, what's this Java? What's this JavaScript stuff? And I'm not mathematically inclined. Like my 14-year-old is already far beyond me in math. That's not my thing. But I found something that I really, really enjoyed. I really looked at this code and like, okay, this makes sense. And it made me want to learn other little pieces of code to the point where I started building websites out of my dorm room enough for a lot of the local businesses. My majors were in psychology, advertising, and marketing, so I knew how to talk and sell. So I started going to a lot of the businesses around Michigan State and saying, you know what, I could build a website for you. You know, and they're like, why do you need to do that? So I started building enough websites in the East Lansing area that I got noticed by the company out there, Ameritech it was, and they're like, who are you? You have this market on lock. We can't sell websites. How did you do this? And they said, can we hire you? And I was like, yeah, you can hire me on. So literally right out of university, I went to work with them, helped leading their web design sales division. And as I was explaining what I do in a coffee shop, and this is back when the web was really about to blow up, before the boom, and there's a gentleman who said, you seem like you really understand the business side and the technical side of websites. He said, well, I'm just starting this new company of IT consultants. Would you be interested in coming to work with me? And it's literally, I'm in a coffee shop in Detroit, and I'm like, yeah, well, what are you paying? He's like, a lot. But I said, okay, well, I'm interested. And so, yeah, and that's literally where it came from. I got hired by this company to be an IT consultant, and it went from taking this passion I had on the side, web design, and it literally grew into, I started my own little business, competed with the bigger boys. They didn't like that, so they hired me, and then a large company saw me explaining it, and like, you really get this, come work with us. And that's how I kind of got pushed into it. It really wasn't a little bits of psychology, it's little bits of marketing, little bits of advertising, but that was literally, I kind of stumbled into STEM from a passion that I had. That's really how mine started.
For me, briefly, I always had a passion for medicine, but I did not want to be a doctor. I knew that I do not like touching people. So a profession where I had to put my hand on somebody or in somebody, I just knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. So I got a job working at CVS. Decided I was working with a pharmacist that went to Florida A&M University. I found out, yeah, I don't know what that is. I found out about FAMU that the school was amazing and this college of pharmacy was amazing.
And it still is.
And it still is. If anybody's interested in that, we can tell you more later. So I went down there, started pharmacy school, realized that I'm not as crazy about science as I thought I was. As far as those physical sciences, just don't do it. The physical sciences don't do it for me. So I had a good conversation with a great mentor, and she said, well, what is it that you want to do? And I said, well, I think I want to run a hospital. If that seems like a cool thing to have the office at the top and be in charge of the whole hospital. She said, go get you a bachelor's of science in healthcare management. Come back and talk to me when you get that degree. Got that degree, started working in long-term care, was working in nursing home administration through an internship, and I thought, okay, I want to run a nursing home, not a hospital, because that's really cool, a career too, if you want to talk about that. But she said, I needed another degree. I needed a master's degree. I can't just work with a bachelor's in the field that I wanted to work in. So I went to go get a master's of public health in policy and management so that I could do more administrative work. But I found out that epidemiology exists. Now, I always had this idea because when they teach you in school, they teach you one subject at a time for an hour apiece. I thought either I had to be good at math or I had to be good at science, or I could work on one or the other. I found out that epidemiology is a science that is heavily based in math. So I can use my talents in statistics to study sciences, to study diseases, to put all those together. So I said, if I can do math and science at the same time and talk about people with diarrhea, like, that's what I do. Yeah, I get more into why I say what I say when we talk about what it is we do. Question. Here's one of my favorite questions, and I think those of us that are mature enough to work in any job full time can really speak to this question. But since we're talking about STEM, sometimes we have specific challenges because of the nature of our fields. So I want to ask, what challenges do you face as an African American working in STEM, or as a person of color working in the industry, however you choose to identify? What challenges are specific to you? And Terrence, you have an answer on the tip of your tongue, so just maybe.
So, I'll speak in general because I technically don't work in STEM right now. I work in supply chain, and that's more business. But
You're right, man.
there are challenges. There are perceptions as an African American person that you have to overcome, and for example, as an African American male, I have to be careful how I express myself when I'm upset or when I'm frustrated or when I'm angry in a meeting, because you don't want to be perceived as the angry black guy, right? Unlike my, non-African American counterparts. So there's a lot of little things like that you have to just be cognizant of when you get into whatever field you go into. And I constantly am aware of things that can make people perceive me in not such a good light, for example. And what I just said is kind of one of them. I'll let them kind of talk more specifically about STEM, but that's just one I thought that is kind of universal across all different industries and fields.
I can say, especially when I first started as a pharmacist, I ran into it a lot. I moved from Florida to Alabama for the first 2 years of my work, and it was almost like going back in time because I was considered a triple whammy. I was young, I was black, and I was single, and I had already graduated with my doctorate. So they didn't know what to do with me. And it was odd, but it was also frustrating because nobody wanted to take me seriously. Because I'm back here in this white coat trying to tell you, hey, this is what this is going to do to your body. You may not want to drink with this. And they're like, what are you talking about? You're not wet behind the ears yet. You don't know what you're doing. I've been called everything outside of my name, besides a child of God. And it felt like I almost had to earn the respect, which was kind of a two-edged sword for me because I did all the work already to get my degree. I know what I'm talking about. I should not have to prove to you, but I do. Go ahead.
All right, I can echo what she was saying. I have the same experiences. Being young, black, and female, I do not look like I have the education that I have. People assume that I'm an intern. Nothing wrong with being an intern. I've been an intern, but I'm not anymore. I get questioned a lot on my credentials, just walking through an office. It'll be, oh, who are you? I'm an epidemiologist. Oh, you're an epidemiology team. No, I'm an epidemiologist. Oh, well, what degree do you have? I'm sorry, do you know my first name? Are you like, who are you? And they feel like just because you're there, you're in their space, you don't belong. They can question who you are, what do you know? I've walked into clinics up to a nurse's station and said, this patient has this disease and I need this file, which is what I'm supposed to do. Well, who are you? Again, I'm an epidemiologist. Are you the epidemiologist? Are you on the team? Give me the file. Like, and it's frustrating because there's patients that need things that need to be served, and your perception of who and what I am is holding up the process, even though I've been working here 2 years.
Correct.
And so those type of frustrations bother me, but we're going to get back to the positive side real quick. Oh, you can answer it, my bad. Go ahead.
He said basically.
Yeah,
But no, really, well, I run into the thing being a large black male. Well, I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a situation and I've just been asked, are you the security guy? I get that all the time. One of the ones that I got when I just started at the place I work right now, as soon as I walked in, and I mean, I got the suit on, I have my tie, like, I look good, right? Right? And I'm walking there, and the first thing the guy says is, oh, are you Jill's new driver? She needs to get to the airport. Jill's the president of the company. But, and what I love, though, is that they stopped and were like, he's the director of marketing. Like, there's a D-I-R at the beginning of this gentleman's name. He's like, no. and it was nice having that happen, but I have that happen throughout my career, and especially when I've worked with a lot of people in IT. And if you're trying to tell people in IT something, and a lot of them say, okay, well, where did you graduate? What are your degrees in? And then I have to sit there. I'm already ready for that, understanding behavioral psychology, so I've already got what I'm going to say ready. And I'm already using what I need to do to get what I need done. But I've always had that be a problem, going to any situation. It is, I get assumed I'm security, or I get assumed that I'm not as smart as they think I am. And so it's really those things, and you have to take some of the bass out of your voice when you're talking in the meeting, so you don't want to sometimes be that angry black guy. Eventually that worked into my favor because they started sending me into projects that could not get done in a past job. And they're like, you know what, we're sending you in because you don't take boop. We need someone to go into this project to clean that up. So sometimes that works to advantage. But in general, yeah, sometimes the biggest thing is just that you're black in a technical field, period.
So you became the enforcer.
I became Mr. Wolf, basically.
All right, switch that up quickly before we get to questions. What is your favorite thing about your job? Since we talked about that, why do you keep coming to work every day other than that paycheck? We can start there.
Oh, I just enjoy trying to understand how people think. I really enjoy my team, so we are a fantastic team. I kind of earned my spot there. They understand when I come through the doors, like, James is here, come on, we got to get ready. They know when I come in here, it's about business. And I do what I love to do, basically. I love marketing, and I also love behavioral science. So I get to do the two. And so literally when I get in there, it could be 3 o'clock. I'm like, oh, snap, I got to get ready to go. My wife called me, don't forget to bring home bread. I'm like, oh, I do got to come home soon. But we have a good time, doing what we do. It's just when you get into those kind of zones, something that you really enjoy to do, that's nice. If you can find that passion in something that's STEM related or whatever you're doing, yeah, you kind of have a good time.
Well, it's just what I do is fun. I mean, I like it doesn't feel like work to me. I do a lot of contract negotiations, so I'm talking to people. I'm arguing with people pretty much every day, and I kind of like that. I know that sounds crazy, but it's fun. I enjoy people that I work with. I think that's important for all of you. I mean, when I get up every day, I don't feel like I'm going to work. I feel like, you know, I'm going to have fun, and it really is fun. I don't, you know, I know there are the biases out there, but for the most part, I feel like I can be myself where I work. And I think that's really important. But I just think it's fun, and the team that's around me is very supportive, and I like that. So that's why I go back every day.
Dr. Adams, I know you argue with people every day, but I think it's a different story. Go ahead.
Different argument. Like, sir, pull your pants up. I do not need to see your hemorrhoids. There were children around. Please. That is a real story. But no, I do argue with a lot of people. I don't enjoy it to a degree. Like, I like being when they find out I'm right. But what kind of keeps me going, because working at CBS can get strenuous. We are on a time budget. And I literally have 15 minutes or less to explain everything and answer any questions. But what brings me, like, kind of keeps me going, lets me know that I'm doing a good job, is when that light clicks behind their eyes. When they come with an embarrassing question, or, hey, my child is sick, doctor sent me here, what now? And then I'm explaining to them what it is, you know, here's some options, what you need to get over the counter, and then it's just that boom, that click right behind their eyes. That's what kind of keeps the fire going in my heart. That's what kind of keeps me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing, knowing that they understand it and that they now trust me enough with whatever comes. Because once you help them with one problem, they'll keep coming back to you. Hey, now my auntie's sick, or there's something on my toe. What do I do about this? And you know, you're building that rapport to where they know they can trust you, and it just grows. Now the community's coming. So that's what keeps me going.
My favorite part of being an epidemiologist is really the investigative aspect. When someone gets sick or a group of people get sick, I want to know the when, where's, and the why's and the how's. And that's my job. And I love that. Like, my friends call me and say, you know what, I think I got a little diarrhea. And I'm like, and I say diarrhea a lot because that's really super common. Y'all have no idea. So that's like a lot of my job is like, people went to a banquet and now 25 people are throwing up and they got diarrhea. And my job and what I love is, okay, why? What y'all eat? What you eat? What you eat? What you eat? Okay, so everybody had the chicken salad. Where was chicken salad made? Go back to the restaurant. Who made the chicken salad? Susie made the chicken salad. Well, Susie, do you have diarrhea? No, I don't, so it wasn't me. Do you have any kids? I have a newborn baby. Well, is your baby in diapers? Yeah. Does your baby have diarrhea? Yeah. There we are. Did my job. I love that. That everybody's sick. When Zika came, I was working in a local health department at the time, and people were getting bitten by mosquitoes. And okay, so they got Zika, we found out there's a fever, there's rash, there's whatever, conjunctivitis. Now they're having babies 9 months later, and with microcephaly, meaning their heads were smaller than they should be. That's fascinating to me. You mean to tell me they got bit by a mosquito and now they having birth defects? And so to try to figure out, make that connection, make sure, are we sure that's what's happening? But get to the bottom of that, and then, okay, now what do we do? How do we get people to, you know, how do we prevent this? We figure out that we can't get bitten by mosquitoes anymore. How do we do that? Get the message out. What do we need to tell people? What do we do this? Make the flyers, make the videos. I love that. I love that something's going on, what's going on, fix it. And that's, you know, why I do my job. So, we have reached the question and answer portion of our evening. If anyone has a question, we have a microphone in the middle. Don't be shy. We will not bite. Thank you.
We also have,
And you can direct it to anybody or everybody.
we will be taking questions
So
from the
this
Twitch
question
also.
is for everyone on the panel, and thank you for sharing your experiences. So you spoke about your challenges in the workspace as a Black African American in tech or in some supply chain. So what strategies have you found to be effective in assimilating work cultures that are made up of people who don't necessarily look like you or share the same values as you? Or not values necessarily, but you know,
Like the same, you know.
upbringing, yeah, social economic background.
I'll say I don't assimilate. It is what it is. I am all day, every day. I don't come in with a Negro Justice League shirt on to work, but I come in as Dina Cherry Brown every day, and Dina Cherry Brown is Black every day. They deal with it. I'm not aggressive or angry or anything like that. It's just my hair's like this. My jewelry's the way it is. I listen to music. Sometimes I gotta put on headphones,
Just the
listen to
first
Cardi
week
B,
of
just to
10.
get my mind back into my culture and push them out. Music helps a lot. music helps a lot. Like I
The gentlemen
pull
are
up to the
special
San
guests from
Francisco
different
in a
places.
Charger with Migos blast, and that is, I need that for my spirit. I don't even do that all the time. and that balance for me, something that attaches me to my culture when I'm out in the world is how I continue to keep showing up every day.
For me, my upbringing, I was taught to pray, so I used to bless my pharmacy with oil. But physical oil, why is everything slippery? It was, I had to wipe it down. But I learned, especially when I was in Alabama, because I was like, they were confrontational, like in my face. You don't belong here. We know you're not even from here. Why don't you just go back where you were? I learned to speak slow, deal with the facts. This is what you wanted. This is your medication. I can't give this to you because it's not free. You need to pay for it.
No, not a
I
bad
don't care
question.
what you said about my mama.
The
You still need the
gentlemen,
medication. Your
our
insurance will
guests,
not pay for it. This is
and
the copay.
the ladies
If
are
you
from
want it, you'll
NJL.
pay for it. If you don't want it, you can leave my pharmacy. If you proceed to call me out of my name, I will get the police involved. And I just learned to stick with the facts, keep my feelings out of it, deal with that later. You know, I would vent outside of work, playing video games, talking to these people, prayer, to calling my parents. I called my parents so much when I was in Alabama, but at work, I learned to be slow to speak. So that if anything happened, when the police do come and now they're trying to flip the script, oh, she was ignorant, oh, she was indignant, she said this, she said that. There's enough witnesses now to know that I didn't do any of that. I said what I said, I stuck with the facts. There's nothing you can pin on me. And I left it at that.
Colton.
Yeah, I think I've been blessed to have, at every job that I've had somebody that looked like me, that kind of took me under their wing to help me deal with kind of what you're talking about. Like Dina, I probably don't blast Migos, but I might. but honestly, I am going to be me. I've learned over the years to kind of combat what she's talking about with just the same tone I'm talking now. Even when they yelling and screaming and angry, that's what they kind of expect me to do. Just to kill them, just like this, just sir. I mean, what are you saying, basically, And they don't expect that, and it catches them off guard. So, but at a very high level, I've just been blessed to have people at every job that I've had to kind of take me under their wing and help me out. Now, as I've gotten more seasoned, when I see young interns or LDPs coming in, I try to grab a couple of them and just take them under my wing and help them through, like I've been helping my career.
Absolutely. One of the main things I think I do in any position that I've ever been in, especially when the things are confrontational or people are different, I ask a lot of questions. The angrier they are, you need to understand the person asking the questions is the person who's in charge of the conversation.
And I've seen him do this.
Every time, and I do it all the time. So if we can be in an argument, what happens is, if I ask you questions, I'm forcing you to defend your position, and then I'm forcing you to actually say it out loud to the point where you are going to hear it and say, damn, I'm stupid. I can't believe I said that. I would literally keep asking you the question because I know where I want you to go, and I know the series of questions to ask to get you there. So I literally, people with behavioral psych degrees are some kind of evil. And literally what I'll do is I'll keep asking the questions until I get you there. Oh, yeah, I see that now. I'm like, okay, cool, and that's just where we go. But I literally, they start yelling and start doing statements. I just start asking them questions to make them fit in that position, so I can get them to see, oh, maybe I'm wrong, and go from there. I've always had that, and I've taught the people who come to me, like, there's only 2 black males in the entire corporate office where I work, and there's about maybe 10 black women. But I know when these guys, young will come in as an intern, hold them aside, like, let me teach you a couple of things you need to know. And I've done this in every position I've ever been in, and I've always taught, especially really young black people that come in and say, let me teach you the question sequence. Let me teach you the sequence so they can get to where they want to go. And I still have people from 10 years ago like, man, Sloss, I can't believe I still use that. Like, I still use that, and I tell my staff that too. I still use that question sequence. Man, I even do it to my wife sometimes. I'm like, don't do that. But yeah, that's kind of how I navigate the situation. I make them defend their position. Therefore, I don't have to defend myself. I just put a lot of holes in your argument. I don't defend mine.
What are the questions?
Right.
You had,
After the Q&A.
I mean, does anybody else have any other questions? Because if not,
We can go in.
do you have a question?
Well, from Twitch, because we're on Twitch. We're on Twitch, by the way, and
By the way, we are streaming
Oh,
live
let me-
on Twitch for people that are not here.
This is how you find us.
Yes.
We're right now at the bottom of the Twitch at Black Nerdcast. We're streaming live right now, and that'll be on our YouTube eventually.
Because when we're not doing these wonderful jobs, we're usually doing streaming video
And
games.
we do a podcast every week, so
Every week.
find us. And we have flyers, and we'll be at the table after this outside. You can talk to us. Twitch question real quick, and then I'll get to you, okay?
all right. So the Twitch question is, what advice would you give young black children about code switching, and if there is an importance to it?
Who is it?
This is from medschool_30.
Thank you, Med School. Code switching, ooh, and I know that's the person asking that question is professional code switching.
Professional.
You have to. I'm code switching right now. The way I'm talking to you all, standing in front of this podium, is not how I'm talking to them as soon as we get out this door. And we say code switching, we think being black, being white. And you code switch everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you have a mask that you put on and you present, and it's professionalism. I cannot speak to you right now like I speak every day, and I can't speak to you like I speak at work because I'll say some words y'all won't understand. So I think code switch is absolutely necessary, but I think you don't want to lose yourself.
There should be
Don't-
layers to it.
It should always be a version of you. You are a multifaceted person. Every day you show somebody a facet, but don't ever show somebody that's not you.
Absolutely.
Can we move on? Y'all got something to say? All right. All right, next question.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Hi. In the information technology field, a lot of us suffer from the imposter syndrome, black and white. And for African Americans, it's even more difficult because our field changes so fast, we have to keep up. And sometimes we're not keeping up. I don't care if you're black or white, it's hard to keep up with everything. So, have any of you all experienced that where you're thinking, why am I even here? And how do you even address that? You know that you're qualified, you know you can do this, but every so often you hit that point where you're questioning yourself, and it limits you because it'll keep you from asking questions and for doing things that you really should be doing. You know are the right things, but you're still in that questioning mode, like, I don't know if I want to even go there because.
Absolutely. For me, I think it really depends on who's in your tribe. And that's not just talking about family, that's talking about like who's in your circle, who's got your ear when things are going wrong, when you're having those doubts. Who are you taking those doubts to? Who is the person that you are bouncing these ideas and these voices off of? Because not everybody that's in your tribe is there for you. So to have a core, compact group of people that are like, hey, you go and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Why am I even here? I'm sick of this job. Why am I helping these people? This lady tried to throw poop at the store. Why am I here? And so, that core. another side story.
Our job.
let's talk about that after.
We'll be at the table.
Please do not think that retail pharmacy is an easy job. People think that counter protects them from everything. But when it comes to those days where, because that was last year for me, like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Having those core people behind you to remind you, to reassure, because sometimes just having it here and having it here is not enough. Sometimes you need that outer voice, giving it back to you, like rekindling that fire back inside of you to remind you who you are, what you're capable of, what you have in store, and why you got into this in the first place. Sometimes you need somebody outside of your own head to give that back to you. So that's why it's really important to have those core people in your tribe that are there for you.
I agree with that, and y'all do that for me, for the Negro Justice League. It's something I started on my own. I had no idea what I was doing, and they constantly tell me this is great, keep moving. I agree with that. However, for me, as far as science, I realized outside of my profession, when I had a child, I realized, as a kid growing up, you think adults know everything. When you have your own child, you realize your parents had no clue. They was winging it. Because you're winging it too. And so I realized, when I had that realization that nobody really knows what they're doing. Even the people who you think know what they're doing, nobody knows. And I take comfort in that. I take comfort in knowing that, you know what, I'm unsure, so are they. People been here longer than me, they don't know either. And so if they don't know, I don't know, I'm good. Like, I don't feel like an imposter. I feel like we all just out here winging it. And I know that doesn't really, instill a lot of confidence in me and what I do. I'm just saying I am comfortable knowing that nobody knows everything. The experts read. I'm considered a subject matter expert in my field, but I read every day. And that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. Nobody has to know or do everything. So we got another.
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not a nerd, I'm just a grandma. Who's got different age groups of grandchildren, a doctor, studying to be a doctor, kids in grade school. What are the questions that you ask? Because that's a skill that needs to be started to be taught at a younger age. Because my grandson in grade school has run across some stuff that I never would have thought I didn't run into till I was working and hard in terms of racial injustice, people trying to pin things on them, not just being in order, rage from teachers and students too. So I mean, the questions that you ask, what are the questions that you ask to bring a person back to the subject matter?
Sure. A lot of times I'll ask them, which irritates them in the first part, what did you say? So I want them to reiterate exactly what was said at that point. And then it's usually, okay, well, why should we do it that way? Or why do you feel that way? Then I try to bring them to the compromise question where I say, okay, if I was to agree with you, this is what I would do. But put yourself in my shoes. If you were to do it my way, how would you make it work? Because at that point, I've challenged them to consider, okay, if your idea is stupid, okay, if I was to do your idea, how would I make it good? So at that point, they have to think of how they can make it work. And they say, oh yeah, maybe that would work, or okay, maybe you're right. Generally what happens is, as long as you keep asking them questions that make them have to think about their answer, you're trying to get them to the point where, because in your head are lies. In all of our heads, there are a bunch of lies. We tell ourselves lies every day about X, Y, and Z. When you have to put it out into the air and hear it, that's the truth space. And when you get someone to put their idea out, take it from outside their head, out into the arena where it can be truth and where it has to be criticized, then they have to think. They have to think critically. As long as you keep asking them those questions, and especially if you can bring it back to, if you were to do it my way, how would you make it work? You force them to compromise at that point, because no one wants to be that jerk, well, why wouldn't you do it your way? No, I'm saying if you're that smart, how would you make my idea better? You challenge them right now to then go ahead and do that. So now they have to take your idea and work with it, unless they're a-hole, at that point. But I've done it, I'm 44 now, I've been doing this for 20-some years. It's rarely ever not worked in a situation where you can generally calm someone down once you're asking a question, because they have to think about why they're being irrational or why they're being silly. But when you ask them, how would you make my idea work? Usually a wrap at that point. They have to come to your side, and you just sit there, okay, well, thanks, let's do that. And at that point, they're like, okay, what just happened? We moved on so we can get the damn job done. That's what we do. And we just go from there. But yeah, the person asking the question is always the person in charge of the conversation.
All right, do we have time for one more question?
Hi. So you two specifically had mentioned that you have issues with people not taking you seriously, people thinking you don't know what you're talking about and stuff. At my job, I work in technology. I'm a hacker, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we're the best. And so
I love your job already.
And so
Congratulations.
but how do you deal with the amount of time it takes to get from I'm having this problem, I need you to help me solve it, or like I have a question, like how do you get a thing to happen when people aren't listening to you because they don't think you know what you're talking about?
Stay on it. Don't back down. There's a saying, you gotta work twice as hard just to do the same amount for certain things that we have to do. So just stay on them. They will have to take you seriously, especially when you know your stuff.
Yes,
So
that was what I was gonna say.
yes.
Once you open, they look at you and think something, but once you open your mouth and they find out you got that business.
And that you're correct.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing they can do then, except eat their words. So
But you gotta
stay
walk
on
it like you talk it, because if you.
Don't back down.
Yeah.
Never.
It's connection right there. Take
Does that
in
answer
there.
it enough? Or
Yeah, I mean, well, so my issue is that like I feel like I'll pretty clearly say, like, I know all these things, I'll list
Sorry
out
about
all the
that,
reasons
y'all.
that I'm right,
My
and
bad.
then,
No, go ahead.
and they still just, I'll move over here, and they still just kind of don't take me serious. Like, I've given people evidence that's proven, and even later sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, I found out all this stuff, and it'll be exactly the thing I just told them, except there's no connection to them that I'm the one who told them, so then the next time I still have that issue.
Eventually it comes back around, because at some point, they're gonna have to admit that it came from you, and no matter how much they beat around the bush, you still know your stuff. It always circles back
Oh,
around.
I don't have a problem saying I told you that.
That part too. Some, per my last email, per my last response,
Yeah, I don't say it like that, but you say,
Yeah.
copy,
Yeah.
CC it, whatever you gotta do. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
but stay on it.
Put a
Don't,
date, time and date on it.
document everything.
All right.
Surrender.
Hi,
All right, last question, and it will be outside if y'all want
It's
to
not
talk
really
to.
a question, but I'm in the technology field as well. I'm a financial
Woohoo!
systems consultant. I work for myself, and I'm in my early 40s. And usually when I come into a place and I run a back office system, so I'm an admin, and I maintain and implement security for major corporations. They don't want to take you seriously at first. That happens. First of all, you're young, you're black, you're a female. So you have a couple of things working against you.
Step a little further to the mic so they can hear.
Working against you. So as the panel said, you come in there and you have to know what you know. You document, you ask for requirements, you put in there, you turn around on them their conflict towards you. So when someone has conflict or want to kind of push against you, then you email. So email works in your favor. So you email, you copy.
Absolutely.
You don't blind copy, you copy. And you make sure you take notes in those meetings of what was said, what your recommendations were. You also attach supplement, and you give them time frames and response time in order for you to keep your deadline going. I need you to respond to me in X amount of days, and I need this answer. Bullets, white space, not a lot of verbiage, because you get charged for that too. So, as you mature in the industry, you'll just let it roll off. I laugh at you, because I do the same thing, and I'm actually between the two. My father was a minister, so I grew up praying, but I'm also David Banner, 3-6 Mafia. Depending on the situation, the music matters. And
Nothing wrong with a happy metal.
exactly.
Absolutely.
That too. The more you matriculate through this industry and through your career, you let it roll off you, because I know my stuff. And I know my stuff. And I know they can't get it.
That's right.
And that's it. I got backlogs of clients trying to get me to do work because I know my stuff. And you know your stuff. Don't ever let anybody get in your ear and your head. And the same thing on my other sister, that you got the circle matters, but you also have to have people in your camp that know your story, that know your struggle, so that they can shore you up when you're coming down. Because there's a lot of people that are good at motivating, but they don't know how to motivate.
Absolutely.
Because we have different issues.
And everybody has different motivations.
Yeah, everybody does. And our struggle's so different. Even with my friends and most people I know, because if I'm not traveling for a client, I work at home. And nobody knows what I do.
Yeah.
So our struggles are so different than the rest of the world. So your circle is important, but you gotta have those special people that know how to speak your language and shore you up. And that's why I think this panel is really, really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
You're awesome too.
We're at time, so that was it. Hopefully, we have flyers. If anybody with this information here, if you get to write that down and you want to find the podcast, it also has codes where you can scan it and it'll take your phone directly to the show. We'll be at the table outside. Hopefully, we said something about one of these fields that sparked somebody's interest. And if you have questions, we definitely can answer them. But we didn't get deep as we could have into our careers.
And if you're interested in Negro Justice League, our information is up here. We also do have these lovely t-shirts.
Oh yeah, we got t-shirts.
Yep.
So check us out outside. We appreciate you coming. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Alrighty, you guys, this has been Chesterfield Winthrop III, and we are signing out. I will probably be doing random streams throughout the rest of the evening to see different things. So, yeah, be around. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. You guys have been awesome. And, yeah, see you guys later.